I need to tell you what I did, and you're going to think I'm terrible, but there's something about the way everyone is calling him heartless that nobody understands. I said my ex would have made a better dad, and now he canceled our IVF treatments and won't touch me, not even to hand me my coffee mug. The worst part about what happened isn't what you think. It's something I've never told anyone, and it changes everything. Everyone thinks he's the villain in this story, but the truth is, I'm the one who ruined everything. And here's what really happened. If I don't tell this story, you'll never understand why he walked out on 3 embryos we'd already named. But once you know what I know, you'll see why I had no choice but to push every button I could find. I'm going to tell you everything, including why I compared him to a man who once forgot my birthday for 3 years straight. And the part that makes me look worst, I'm saving that for the end because you need to understand how scared I was first. We'd been trying for 2 years. 2 years of peeing on sticks that never showed the right line. 2 years of him timing sex like it was a train schedule. It's more efficient this way, he'd say, pulling out his phone to mark the exact minute. I should have known something was wrong when he started calling our future baby the ROI, but I ignored it because I wanted to be a mom more than I wanted to admit how cold that made my skin feel. There's something about him I haven't told you yet, something that started way before this fight. While everyone was focusing on how rational and stable he was, I was noticing how he never cried at movies, never got excited about surprise parties, never once said he loved me without me saying it first. But I was 38 and my eggs were checking out faster than I could process my feelings, so I kept quiet. I was so focused on getting pregnant that I missed how much he was hoping we'd fail. The signs were all there, but I was too desperate to see what was coming. Looking back, the real problem wasn't my fertility. It was that I was trying to build a family with someone who treated human connection like a business merger. That night, something happened that I've never told anyone about. We were sitting in the fertility clinic waiting for our consultation, and this couple came in with their toddler. The kid dropped his toy car and started crying. Without thinking, I reached for it. But my partner, my future baby daddy, he actually moved his foot so the car rolled farther away. Natural selection, he whispered to me with this little smile. I laughed it off then. I should have walked out right there, but I was too busy planning nursery colors. Everyone was trying to warn me about his emotional detachment, but I couldn't see that they meant something bigger. My mom kept saying, "Honey, you're going to be doing all the feeling for 2 people." My best friend told me she'd never seen him get excited about anything that wasn't work-related. But I told myself I was being too sensitive, that stable men didn't need to gush about feelings to be good fathers. I thought I was being smart by choosing someone reliable over passionate, but what I didn't realize was that reliability without warmth creates a different kind of desert. Everyone on social media was cheering us on. "You found such a good one," they commented on our anniversary posts. But behind the scenes, I was Googling "husband never says I love you first" at 3 in the morning. The fight started like most fights do, over something stupid. We were arguing about what to order for dinner, and I said maybe we should start eating healthier since we were about to spend $15,000 on making a baby. He said money wasn't the issue, that he made plenty of money. And that's when it slipped out. "You know what? My ex would have made a better dad than you. At least he knew how to care about something other than himself." I know this makes me sound cruel, but you don't understand what those 3 embryos represented to me. They weren't just cells in a freezer. They were every time he'd chosen work over our anniversary, every time he'd fallen asleep during my ultrasound appointments, every time he'd referred to our potential child as the next logical step in our trajectory. That comparison to my ex, it wasn't random. It was every insecurity I'd been swallowing for 3 years, finally vomiting itself into our kitchen. Yes, I messed up, but if you knew how many nights I spent crying quietly so he wouldn't hear me, you'd see why I wanted him to feel something, anything, even if it was pain. Looking back, I can see how comparing him to my ex was wrong, but in the moment, I was so desperate to crack through his perfect exterior that I'd say anything. The next morning, I found the email. Subject line, "IVF treatment cancellation effective immediately." He'd already called the clinic. Our embryos, the ones we'd named after constellations because we met at a planetarium, were being donated to science unless I wanted to fight him in court. "You made your feelings clear," he wrote in his typically brief way. "I won't force fatherhood on someone who thinks I'm inadequate." While I was worried about hurting his feelings, the real problem was that I'd finally shown him who I really was underneath all my compromise and patience. I was so proud of myself for being honest, not knowing it would lead to the complete erasure of my chance at motherhood. For a moment, I actually believed he'd change his mind, that he'd see how much pain I was in and realize we needed each other. But instead, he moved into the guest bedroom that night, and he hasn't touched me since. Not a hug, not accidentally brushing hands in the kitchen, nothing. It's like I'm suddenly radioactive, like my words created an actual force field around my body that he can't penetrate. I should have been relieved that he didn't scream or throw things, but instead I felt colder than I'd ever felt in my life. That's when my best friend said something that destroyed me. "Maybe this is what you wanted. Maybe you picked someone you knew would never really love you back, so you'd have an excuse when it failed." You're probably thinking I'm just making excuses now, but it gets worse. Remember when I said my ex would have made a better dad? Here's what I haven't told you, and it changes everything. My ex and I broke up because he wanted kids and I didn't, back when I was 32 and focused on my career. I told my current partner this early on, made it sound like I was the one who was emotionally unavailable then. The truth is, I watched my ex hold his sister's baby at a barbecue once, and he cried, just stood there crying at how perfect this tiny human was. And something in me panicked so hard I ended things the next week. I couldn't handle that much raw feeling directed at something that would depend on me forever. So when I told my partner that my ex would have made a better father, what I was really saying was, "I chose you because you don't scare me the way he did. I chose you because your emotional unavailability feels safe. And now I'm punishing you for being exactly who I picked you to be." I know how this sounds, but there's more. The real reason I'm telling you this is because I need someone to understand how messed up it is to want something so badly that you destroy the only version of it available to you. Everyone could see what was happening, except me. I was creating the exact situation I claimed to be afraid of. Now, 6 weeks later, here's where things stand. The embryos are gone. My partner, can I still call him that, moves through our apartment like I'm furniture he forgot to return. I looked like I had it all together on social media, but privately, I was Googling how to apologize for wanting love from wrong person at 3 in the morning. The comments on my posts were all, "Stay strong," and "You deserve better." But the DMs told a different story. Women confessing they'd done similar things, picked safe over satisfying, and then wondered why they felt dead inside. Stop and think about this for a second. Would you have done what I did? Would you have compared the man you picked for his stability to the man whose passion terrified you? Would you have destroyed 3 potential babies because you couldn't admit you were scared of feeling too much or too little? This is where I really messed up. I thought I was protecting myself by picking someone who wouldn't overwhelm me, but actually I was setting up the one scenario guaranteed to break my heart. While everyone was liking my inspirational quotes about not settling, behind the scenes, I was calculating how old I'd be when menopause hit. The text messages between us tell a different story than what I'm sharing here. His are all practical about mortgage payments and who's taking which kitchen appliances. Mine are novels about feelings and memories, and please just look at me. I spend hours crafting the perfect response, not knowing that he's already decided who gets the coffee maker. Remember what I said about the worst part? Here it is. I'm not just mourning the loss of those embryos. I'm mourning the fact that I got exactly what I thought I wanted, a partner who wouldn't make me feel too much, and discovered that feeling nothing is actually worse than feeling everything. My friends all say I'm better off without someone so cold, but what they don't know is that I chose cold because I'd been burned before, and now I'm freezing to death in the exact temperature I selected. I convinced myself that stability mattered more than warmth, because admitting that I was scared of real intimacy was too scary. And the part that makes me look worst, I'm saving this for the end because you need to understand how desperately I wanted to be a mom. I'm relieved. In some terrible, honest part of me that I can finally say out loud, I'm relieved those embryos are gone, because I would have spent 18 years trying to teach a man how to feel while simultaneously teaching a child how to survive having a father who can't. Everyone thinks they know what happened, that I made a cruel comparison and got what I deserved, but the real story will change how you see everything. I didn't lose my chance at motherhood because I said something mean. I lost it because I finally admitted out loud that I'd chosen a life where I'd never really be loved the way I needed, and those embryos deserved better than that. Now, 40 is coming like a train, and I'm alone with a man who won't touch me in an apartment we're dividing like war spoils. And the terrible truth is, I'd rather have this specific loneliness than keep pretending that safe is the same as loved. So when people ask what happened, I let them think I'm the villain. It's easier than explaining that sometimes we destroy the very thing we want most because we finally understand we picked the wrong person to build it with.